Okay, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I got a Super Nintendo here and it came in a lot of other consoles. Now this video was recorded almost 6 months ago, maybe even longer, and I just didn't get a chance to edit it and work on it. So I finally have some free time, so I may as well work on this video. Now this Super Nintendo, clearly someone has made a work of art and they painted it with various different colored paints and some pastel pink, Sharpie black, and some other red paint. It's an ugly shape, but let's see if it works. So I did notice earlier that the back post on the power plug is broken. So when I wiggle the power jack, it does power up. So it is getting power. So at least the console posts to the service screen. Let's see if it runs the burn-in test. So I actually tested the controller port first and everything seems to be fine. So this console passed all the burn-in tests. Now let me try it with a game. And the games fire up. So I think this console is working. It's just in terrible shape. So let me clean it up, see what I can do. So I really jumped through hoops in this video to clean up this console. I could have did it in a better way and a cleaner way, but it was late at night when I was recording this video. I was a little tired, so things got messy. Even on the eject mechanism, they covered it in Sharpie marker, so that's going to be a chore to clean. So if you're new to my channel, I do post a lot of Super Nintendo repair videos. So if you want more in-depth detail on how to remove the screws and reassemble and disassembling a Super Nintendo, just watch some of my older videos. So in this video, I'm not going to go into too much detail. So I did mention that the power post was broken, so I'm going to replace that, and it's a good thing that I can replace the whole part, because having to clean that pastel pink off that end there would have been a chore. So for any new viewers out there, I do this repair quite often on my channel. Super Nintendo power posts, they tend to break off. So if you want a more in-depth detail on how to replace this, just watch some of my previous videos. It's not the most difficult job in the world anyway, so you can pretty much get an idea what I'm doing just simply by watching this video. So not only did they paint over the plastic piece, they also painted the RF out. So that could cause interference or a poor connection. No one really uses the RF anymore. Even still, you shouldn't paint over any ports or outs or controller ports, any of that. So before I put in the new plastic power port, I'm going to clean up the board. Now that I have the heat sink off and everything exposed, I'm going to clean up the dust and debris that may be on this board. So here's the new one. It's not actually new. I did salvage it from a broken console. It did have a good port, so I'm going to use it here. They do have aftermarket ports. You can get them off AliExpress or even eBay. I suggest AliExpress because you can get lots of 10 and it's not really that expensive. You just have to wait a month. And eBay, they just overcharge for everything. So the back panel and the board cleaned up nice. So now let's look at the exterior shell. So I know why they painted this console. It seems to have yellowed over time, but I also noticed this crack here, so I think something fell on top of it. Hopefully it doesn't look bad once I get the Sharpie marker off. In the areas that they didn't paint, you can definitely see that the console is yellowed. So here's the mess that I made on my workbench. I actually took a bowl of soap and water and started cleaning the parts. And by the end of this video, you're going to see that's just a mess. So with alcohol and a paper towel, I just want to see how much I can get off. And it is coming up. It's just making a super mess. So this video might not be for everyone. It's not really a repair, it's more of a cleaning. Even still, I hope someone still enjoys it. The 99% alcohol did break through the paint. It's just every paper towel I used to turn this color. So now here you'll begin to notice that my workbench, my work mat, is just getting covered in paint. So to really deep clean these corners that I can't really get with the paper towel, I used a melamine sponge, and for comparison, here's a side-by-side, half and half. There's definitely a difference. So there's still some spots that I couldn't completely clean, but I'm still happy with how it looks. So now I'm going to focus on the bottom shell. Now the pastel pink paint that did come off, and so did the Sharpie marker, but it's just so dirty and I don't see myself taking on a project like this ever again. It's like one coat wasn't enough. They decided to go with 74 coats of the ugliest paint they could find at Walmart. So before I retrobrite it, this serial sticker has been through enough. I'm going to remove it with some hot air and then I'll reapply it once it's done. So off camera I did clean up the bottom half of the shell a little bit more, and also the controller port I did clean up, and it didn't come out too bad. It's still a little pink. You can see the crack, but it's not that noticeable, so I'm not too worried about it. So here's the console inside the hydrogen peroxide liquid solution, and the controller bezel is in the back. Now for the controller bezel and the bottom half, I am going to remove them early, and I'm going to leave the top half to Retrobrite a little longer. So here's the bottom half after the Retrobrite. Now it's the original color, but there is some black marks from the Sharpie and some red paint still left on this controller bezel on the right side. So I'm going to try to touch it up with another melamine sponge, see if I can finally get the last bit of it off. If not, I'm not too worried about it because you can barely see it. So here's a real close shot. You could just barely make out the red residue, but I'm happy how that turned out. And here's the bottom half. Under these like ridges, there's still some black staining. I'm not worried about that. So here's the RF shield for the top half of the console, and it was painted like the paint seeped through, so I'm just going to polish it up a bit and it should be good as new. Now I forgot why I put the sponge on top of the shield there. I think it was my camera from the reflection of the light was dimming down, so to mitigate the darkness in the video I actually covered the shield. Now here's a part that I forgot to clean. Now this shouldn't actually be too hard. I can just let it saturate in some 99% alcohol and it should wipe right off. Now the plastic used for the controller port is not texturized, it's smooth, so the paint is easier to get off. Here's the top half of the shell after the Retrobrite. Now it's like a night and day difference compared to what it was before. And that crack that was on the top half, you can barely notice it. You can still tell it's there if you look closely, but from a distance, it's almost invisible. Now there's still a slight discoloration, there's still some yellow left over, and it looks worse on camera than actually in real life, oddly enough. Just keep in mind that when a console, in my experience, when it's yellowed all the way through, when the plastic is yellowed all the way to the other side, it's harder to get that console color original again. So sometimes when the yellowing isn't so bad, you'll turn the console shell over and on the inside it's still original. So those tend to come back to life better than these. So in this shot, it has a little more ambient light, better and more natural light than that bluish UV LED light, and you can see that it's not. You can still notice the difference, but it's not. It's way better than how it was before. So here's a couple of different comparison shots, and here's the finished product. It's like night and day. I'm really happy how this turned out. So that's all I have for you in this video. So if you want to see more future restorations, more projects, more videos, please like, comment, share this with a friend, subscribe, and thank you for watching.